the right direction now. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. A moment of silent reflection. Let us take a moment of silent reflection to contemplate in our own way the responsibility we have to collectively use our skills and experience to ensure the mutual long-term benefit of our municipality and those we represent. Now the roll call, please.
Mayor Reed,
Present.
Councillor Chartrand,
Present.
Councillor Foote,
I'm here.
Councillor McKay,
Present.
Councillor Vilder.
Here.
And ask Councillor Foote if you do the recital of the municipal vision and mission statements.
Okay, Mary. HCM mission, at your service, working effectively to bring together people, partnerships, and potential for a strong, connected community. HCM vision, providing a healthy, connected, and sustainable community teeming with possibilities for our citizens now and into the future.
Thank you. Disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof.
Mary, I have two. Melinda, if you want to note these, please. The first is legal invoicing. It's item 13/02/18-1203. And the second is, let me see here, 13/02/18/1301. I'm recusing that under professional courtesy conduct, item 1.6, but if you want me to, Melinda, I can go into the closed session briefly and explain why. Rather than,
For clarification, you don't claim a code of conduct or a pecuniary interest under anything that doesn't have financial implication for you directly.
it could have financial implications, that's why, because I'm under the Curtis report.
That is nothing to do with this.
Well, it's my choice. Do I have a choice?
No, because that's not a pecuniary interest, or if you're not there, your vote is a negative vote. We've been through this before.
If you insist, I'll go in, but I didn't participate for obvious reasons. Thank you.
So noted. Deputations, presentations, we have none.
Sorry, Mayor Reed, if I may.
Yes.
So I didn't hear any other declarations. I will be filing additional code of conduct, pecuniary conflict of interest subsequent to this meeting.
That's fine, but that's nothing to be brought up during the meeting.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, that's fine. Adoption of minutes of previous meeting. Moved by Councillor McKay, seconded by Councillor Chartraw. Minutes of the past meeting. Regular meeting Tuesday, January the 23rd, 2018. Be it resolved that minutes of the regular meeting of Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018 be accepted as presented. Any questions? Any question?
No.
All in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
No,
Opposed?
opposed.
Where to go? Councillor Chartrand?
Yes.
Councillor Foot?
Yes.
Councillor McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
Yes.
Councillor Vilden?
No.
The motion's carried.
You should all have a copy of the RMFEO minutes in your package. And I have spoke to, or left a message with Ron Higgins that I will be attending in March.
Okay.
Okay. In North Frontenac. I don't know where they got the idea that I was not attending any of them, but anyhow. We have minutes of library board. Any questions? I'm sure Marlene could answer those for you. Minutes of the Recreation Committee, Wednesday, December the 13th. Only thing I can add for myself is that, again, I attended county council, and I won't get into that, so, thank you. Moving on, petitions and correspondence. We all have our correspondence, and we have one late one, right?
There's two, there's a flip side. It's all
Pardon?
on the one piece of paper, but there is something.
Yeah, okay, on the back too.
Yeah, so one
You're
and a
right.
two.
Anything needs to be brought up through correspondence, you see? I only have one comment, and that's on number one, $26 million of revitalization, provided you spend it on what we tell you to spend it on.
Yeah.
And we
Otherwise
don't
you-
know what that is
Yeah,
yet.
otherwise you can't have the money. Is there anything somebody would like brought up out of the package of correspondence?
I didn't see anything.
So, Mayor Reed, if council has nothing, I'd just like to speak to this last one. And again, it's a new, project that's starting within the county, and they're looking for one or two representatives of the community. So they're not really looking for council reps or staff reps, but someone from the community who might be interested in, participating in this discussion on active aging in the county. They want to know what people want to see, what people are looking for, so there is information here. We're not going to broadcast it right out everywhere because they may be overwhelmed. They're only looking for one or two people, but if you wanted to share this with someone you knew and maybe ask, they can register themselves. Their contact information is there.
Yeah, I think it would be worthwhile
Yeah, it'd be nice to
having
get.
somebody there. We are an aging community, so.
Yeah.
Now, what's your suggestion, to get a hold of a volunteer, or
Well, and that's what we can do.
give them
is-
mileage for going?
Well, we could do that.
Yeah.
Council's got a benefit in that.
Yeah,
We can
I
ask.
would be in agreement with that.
Okay,
Now, the rest of council can speak to that, though. I mean, we can't just say give the mileage with the council agreement.
No, I
to it.
think it would be good to have some representation there.
At
We
least
are an
mileage
aging-
to, you know,
I
Yeah.
think
free.
they're putting on a lunch provided.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that everything else is free, so.
Sure.
so I'm hearing council to approve mileage then to cover for that too.
Yeah, does that take, do you need a resolution for that?
Not really, because it'll be approved at the end with your confirmatory bylaw.
Bet you that works.
yeah.
Take my cell phone away from Mike.
Is that what it is?
I'm getting buzzed for no reason. That's it with correspondence then?
Yep.
Staff reports. Go on to the clerk's report, please.
Okay, so time spent since the last meeting. Noel and I've been trying to get the budget together, but there's again system problems. They've got fixes for it, but they're never here when we want them. Noel has everything up to date though, and we're going to start working on that tomorrow. It'll be ready probably within a couple days now, but a lot of time has been spent responding to these frivolous and vexatious complaints being submitted to the municipality. It takes a lot of staff time, so a lot of the time that we should be used spending on other things has been taken up here, researching, responding, answering, and again, it really does need to end. We need to get on working for this municipality as opposed to putting out fires. Spent some time working on the elections policy. Nominations open May 1st, so that'll be completed in the near future. Trailside Cafe, the first event, had over 80 attendees. Kingston, Sudbury, North Bay. It was a really good first weekend. Second weekend, not so many. I think they had somewhere between 25 and 30 people. Number 2, we've had a request from Mr. Burrell. He was simply asking if council would give any consideration to purchasing a sander to go on the back of the municipal truck, and then perhaps they could sand individual driveways for a price, of course. So basically what council would be doing is adding that equipment and then providing a service for a fee. And part of the reason is because we don't have service providers here. If you're in a city somewhere, you've got different people willing to do it. So I simply said that I would bring it back to council to think about. So it's here for now, but that's something that we can discuss further during budget talks. So I promised we'd bring it forward. So, and we haven't done any more research. I haven't talked to Terry. I don't know what kind of equipment.
Laurentian Hills does provide a service to senior citizens, and I was in talking with Bruce Bushy about it when this whole trail thing blew up in our faces, and we've done nothing since. But he's got a pretty good handle on it, and they do it. Not for everybody, there is a fee, but he says it really works.
That's plowing.
Salt
Plowing
and
Yeah,
and
sanding.
salting, but plowing too?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So maybe that's something that should be put on a line in the budget
In the
for
budget.
Yep.
coming up, and a resolution put forward, whether we move on to it. A little investigation on what a unit's worth, and we all all of council has to remember that next year we're probably replacing the truck, so
Yeah.
we have to take financial into consideration.
Yeah.
But then you'd probably buy a truck that would stand up to the extra stress.
We would probably have to go to what we originally should have had, which was the 3/4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mary.
And also move into a new plow unit and a new sanding unit at the same time. Something that'll last the life of the truck. Not knocking what we have, but it was a lighter pickup, and
Yeah.
the plow unit on that is meant for lighter trucks, so I don't know how well that would go on to a heavier truck. Continue, sorry to interrupt.
Nope, that's fine. So meeting follow-up, again, we've talked about blocking off sections of the rail line as well as Jennings Road. Somebody has been plowing down from the top of the hill to the park. Again, the rule is no plowing or no doing work on municipal lands, so we're working on that. There's some people in the community who are not too happy with us, but again, we're following council's policy. I've said to the person, or one of the people involved, that if they want to change council policy, they can come to you and ask, but right now, we're following policy, so that's if council wants to change it, they can bring that forward. I just want to let you know what's going on. C, we've taken care of the insurance certificate for the use of the trail up in the Durivier area. It's been sent to the our insurance provider, and he says that it meets his requirements. D, based on comments made at the meeting, the last meeting, I think people left here thinking that the county had a legal opinion that was different than ours, so I asked for it, and of course, once I asked privately, I was told, oh no, we didn't say that. We said our opinion is different than your legal opinion. So they are looking for one now. The county has given them up to $20,000 to get a different opinion. And E, again, is further to that, and again, not a resolution of council, but he certainly, Reeve Stack is a proponent of spending up to $100,000 to contest this decision here. Further to that, I received a phone call from Grant Tissick, who is the chief of, I'm not going to say that word, but people of the Pike Algonquin community near Petawawa. Chief Tissick has expressed concerns that they've been experienced with use of OFSC, and like I told him, I didn't know anything about that. But he expressed that if this council found themselves in a position that they wanted to pursue something financially, that he would be willing to throw some money behind that. I said I would bring it back to bring it to council.
May I make a comment on that? The issue with them isn't really the trail.
No.
It's the fact that they want their snowmobiles to use the trail without paying the fees.
Yeah.
And that was part of the settlement. And yet they still are being forced to pay the fees, so.
Yeah. Yeah, he did tell me. So G then, the links are there that the audio from the last two meetings have been put onto a YouTube page. As you can see, or if anybody's looked at it, you can't just put audio, so I had to go through this process. Anyway, it works, but it's time intensive. H, microphones have been ordered to be used. They should be in tomorrow. Doesn't help us today. Mayor Reed already spoke to the Main Street revitalization. We've been promised $36,000, but we have no idea what it's for yet. I'll keep you posted. Number 4 is to set a date for training. This is council and staff training that we're required to complete on an annual basis, but we haven't been doing it for just various reasons. So it's time for a refresher for accessibility, accommodation, Ministry of Labor, and some of the new regulations under OSA. So it would probably be a full day training. There's a resolution there asking for council to select a couple dates, and we'll try to, I know some of you work, we'll try to accommodate as best we can. There's number 5, there's a senior community grant that's been applied for. We haven't heard anything yet. And then the remainder are issues that were added after the package was ready. So this information, number 1, has already been presented to council. It's already been provided, but this is just a formal council recognition that these are concerns that staff have identified with the trail draft management plan, and authorizing, I mean, I can send it to the county without this. It's just kind of a rubber stamp. Number 2 is council's authorization to contract with the legal counsel to have the municipal solicitor present the reports to council so that they're here to answer questions.
Just one thing, Melinda, that legal counsel presenting, is that to do with the Curtis, or is that to do with one of Councillor Villeneuve's?
Perhaps both.
Perhaps both. And that will be an open meeting?
No.
Oh, okay.
Will not.
No, well, it doesn't say that here. That's why I would determine.
You got the email.
I got the email, yes, but it's not here. That's what I'm just trying to clarify things.
Okay.
So it's not on paper here. Thank you. Yeah, okay. It's a closed meeting. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. Number 3, the environmental compliance certificate for expansion of Brizard Creek Waste Disposal Site has been finally approved and registered on title. So we are now, we have an additional, I don't know the number, 40 Crystal, council? You don't know which, I know, pulling it out of thin air. Anyway, whatever we applied for, we received the permission to extend the volume of material that can be landfilled at Visit. The Stonecliff process is still ongoing, but it is in the hands of MOE and MNR. So we've fulfilled our part and are waiting for them to get back to us. And number 4, again, there's been a whole lot of he said, she said, a whole lot of things going on that's causing some concerns with staff. And this was something that we tried some time ago after another similar incident, and we're requesting that council can meet at some point with staff in a closed session so that we can discuss some of what's been happening and hopefully find some resolution.
Sure, good idea.
So again, we're looking for a date, and then the rest of it is just the, again, like I said, the concerns that were identified. And last, and I don't even have it in the document because I just received this morning, or yesterday afternoon, I guess. It's the Ontario summer student, and there's a resolution that I handed to Mayor Reid, which basically says if we can find a category that we can create a position to fit in, the council's giving us the authorization to apply for the funding and to commit 50% of the funding for the student position, which is about $2,500, 23 or 24, I think is what it is. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. And we'll do the resolutions.
Yeah.
Moved by Councillor Chartrand, seconded by Councillor McKay. Clerk's report, date of annual training. Whereas council and staff volunteers are mandated to participate in some training to be compliant under various legislation, and whereas compliance has not been attained for a couple of years due to conflicting schedules and other obligations, therefore it be resolved that the Council of the United Townships of Head, Clare, and Mariah does hereby set aside the following dates for required training, with the actual date be confirmed as soon as possible by staff. So I'm hearing as soon as possible. Does anybody want to throw dates around?
As long as it's a Saturday or Sunday and not this week.
Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday's fine with me.
Yeah.
Pick a day.
Works the best for me as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
15th, 16th, 17th.
Of February? Okay.
of February.
Yeah, this week in February, I'm at county council
Yeah,
for the next 2 days.
we've got March 10th would be the first Saturday that there's nothing.
I'm in Florida on March,
Yeah, I thought you were going, but I wasn't sure when.
but I can do any other 3rd, 24th, 31st. Well, 31st is Easter. I'm not sure if anybody wants to do that, but
We would be
I'm gone.
So we're into March, right?
March
Yeah.
24th.
Is there a certain date that the training has to be done by?
No.
So it's pretty much an open.
So, okay, and since we're so far out, at least I have some guidelines. If council just wants to pass that, I can send the email out and set the date the way I normally do. Like, these are a couple suggestions, tell me which ones you're not available for.
Yeah.
Because we do have to consider staff as well, because
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to Bill and Terry as well.
So,
Okay.
24th tentatively?
tentatively.
Okay,
the
sure,
24th.
okay.
So
Very
if you
good.
can put March 24th, and then
Sure.
I'll work from
Any,
there.
any time, Melinda? Any time, or do you want to?
We'll have to determine
Okay.
that, but it would likely be 9:30, because it'll be,
All day.
Perhaps 9
quite a bit
a.m.
long
Yeah,
day.
okay.
So
I'll
March,
just take that.
I'll put tentatively March the 24th, 2018. You
Yeah.
want me to put a time down?
9 o'clock.
9
Sure.
o'clock?
Yes,
9
please.
a.m.?
9 a.m.
Anything else to add to that?
No?
All in favor?
Yeah,
Yes.
Carried. Resolution 1302-18-003. Draft Algonquin Trail Management Plan. Municipal employees have reviewed the draft trail management plan and have provided a list of concerns in which we feel a need to be addressed. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of United Townships of Head Clare and Mariah is hereby authorized staff to forward a copy of those concerns to county staff responsible for the management of this plan. Questions?
Considering that a number of the code of conduct complaints being investigated now relate to the initial vote on the rail bed and whether there was conflict of interest involved, council should probably, since there doesn't seem to be any urgency to the rest of these rail bed issues, the Skidoo Club's not using the rail bed, to wait until those code of conducts are done. Otherwise, we are just compounding the infractions, if you will.
Any other comments?
Mayor Reed, if I might
Well-
speak to that for a minute. Anything that happens from a code of conduct complaint is not going to change a decision of council. Should Councillor Chartrand be convicted in a court of law of having a pecuniary interest in that issue, it's still not going to be changed.
Council can change a decision
This council
with
doesn't
new
want
information
to.
provided.
That's not new information.
What isn't new information?
Whether you say somebody had the pecuniary interest.
If he's found to have a conflict,
That's,
and it's not just Councillor Chartrand,
didn't,
that would be new information.
no, it wouldn't. New
But that
information-
doesn't pertain what's on the table right at the
That's
moment
right,
anyway.
that's the second issue.
We don't want to get carried away here. There's a motion for the staff to forward what our concerns are to the county, and that's what's on the table. Whether or not people want to name names or blame isn't what I'm asking, and isn't what the resolution is asking. If at a later date, we can always revisit it again. Do we want to continue with this resolution, or do you want to have it tabled for the time being?
I need to send it to county before the end of the month.
Okay, so, anybody else have anything to add? Now we'll call a vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor
Opposed.
Chartrand,
Yes.
Opposed.
Councillor Foot,
Yes.
Councillor McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Reed,
Yes.
Councillor Villeneuve.
No.
Just a reminder, Mayor Reed, have you skipped over the item where we're gonna have a closed meeting to discuss what's going on?
We're not there yet.
Oh, you're not there yet. I gotta see item 4. Okay, so I'm out of step here with these sheets. They're not connected. Okay.
We don't have those.
I have them loose leaf here. So,
Resolution 1302-18-004. Clerk's report, legal counsel to present reports to council. Obviously, relationship and trust issues exist among some council members and staff, resulting in recent code of conduct, harassment, and complaints. And whereas having municipal legal counsel present to answer questions when reports are received will assist in having any questions that arise answered immediately, allowing everyone the opportunity to move forward towards productive governance and management of this municipality. Therefore, be it resolved, the council hereby authorize staff to arrange a presentation of the final reports by legal counsel as soon as possible, calling a special council meeting to do so. Discussion.
Will all of the people named in the harassment complaints be invited to this special meeting to hear the report?
No, it's a closed meeting
It's a
of council.
closed meeting of council, as far as I know.
closed meeting of council doesn't necessarily require just council as far as I'm aware.
This one does, because it involves employee complaints under Occupational Health and Safety Act, as explained by the email from Andrea Risk received on Friday afternoon.
Which was unsolicited, but we have. Correct?
I would say no. You copied in the lawyer you solicited.
Well, we'll get around to that. We'll discuss that. I know, and I redacted that, but it's too late. So I'll speak to a bit of that later. Okay, Mary. carry
Okay,
on.
we've heard Councillor Villanova. Anybody else would like to add to that?
Nope.
Call the vote. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Councillor Chartrand,
Yes.
Councillor Foot,
Yes.
Councillor McKay,
Yes.
Mayor Reed,
Yes,
Councillor Villeneuve.
no,
carried. Resolution 1302, 18004A. And this is the one that the clerk was speaking to for the summer student. Ontario Summer Experience Program, summer student. It's not actually in your package. Whereas there is an opportunity for funding for summer student employees for specific projects, and whereas council deems it important to support in our community. Therefore, be resolved that should staff find it appropriate category for student employment, which will fit our needs and qualify for per provincial guidelines at the Council of the United Townships of Head Clare and Mariah, does hereby authorize staff to apply for and commit up to $2,500 for council's commit to the funding. And that's to regards upfront money should we get the grant and to hire a student for the summer.
I believe it's 50% from council and 50%
Yeah.
from the province.
And we've already had interest of a student that would like to come to work, a college student, and I would say proceed with it, but that's council's decision. So any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yep.
Carried. Treasury report, none.
Yeah.
I've already mentioned it, what's going on. Admin report, please.
Okay, so since my last report to council, I have completed my IMS 200 training in Deep River. So I did my CEMC training in Ottawa, I think it was in the fall. And to become primary CEMC for a municipality, you have to have IMS 100 and 200 training. I finished up for New Horizons for Seniors program. We just finished the appreciation dinner. After updating the budget, I realized that there's still a little bit of money left to be spent, so I'm still researching and booking more workshops. Started the approval process for the New Horizons for Seniors program, the capital grant, so that was for the air conditioning and the covered pavilions outside.
Okay.
I had to resubmit the emergency management annual compliance online. There was issues with their system, so it wasn't uploaded properly the first time. I've just been reviewing bar inventory, floats and deposits with Mel Teal, and completing the waste data entry and stats for annual reporting to Kevin.
Thank you. Resolution 1302-18-005, moved by Councillor McKay, seconded by Councillor Chartraw. Be it resolved that the check log to February 13th, 2018, totaling $43,427.06, be accepted as presented. Questions? That's this page, David?
What's this?
Yes, no, I've seen it.
Okay.
I've read it, and there's nothing there that jumped out at me, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Any discussion?
No, not me, anyway.
All in favor?
Yep.
Yes.
Carried. You wanna just pass them down?
Yeah, you want it back right now. Yeah, I buried mine here. There we go. There we go. Mary? Yeah, I read this over prior, so.
Resolution number 1302-18-006, moved by Councillor Chartraw, seconded by Councillor McKay. Be it resolved that the comparative income statement from January 1st, 2018 to February 28th, 2018, February 7th, 2018, be accepted as presented. Any questions?
No, I see we're in the red, but that's just a window. Doesn't mean much. It's working, Noella?
Yes.
No, good for you. But I see we're in the red, but it's only a partial.
It's
It does-
because there's no budget.
Okay,
The budget's not in place now.
okay, well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, as you can see, the budget.
I have faith in you, you'll balance it.
All in favor?
Yep.
Carried.
Here we are.
Unfinished business. Moved by Councillor McKay, seconded by Councillor Chartraw. Resolution number 1302-18-007, Algonquin Trail to HCM moving forward, where it is the best interest of residents and council to inform the development, use, and alternative routes for certain sections of the Algonquin Trail within Head Clare and Mariah. And whereas council and staff believe that decisions would affect the entire municipality to extent should be made only through consultation with stakeholders. Therefore, be it resolved that Council of the United Townships of Head Clare and Mariah is hereby authorized staff to move forward in consultation with community stakeholders prior to further notifying the county of desires of the community. Question?
I see under options discussion, item 8 has reared its head again. And we were actually cited by a complainant about that because you and I, Mayor Reed, and I think in the confusion of the moment, but we put in a 9 to give permission to the missing link to use the upper west end short trail on the rail bed,
Yeah.
but we neglected to redact 8. So we have, you can't use it because we're going to rescind the lease, and yet we're allowing you to use the bed, so it was confusing to some residents, some, people in the gallery. So if you redact that, Melinda, I don't think it really matters because we control the zones anyway. So,
It's been taken.
yeah, okay, fair enough. Otherwise we'll have more complaints about a
I
double.
think this is just a
negative.
matter of,
Yeah,
and again,
yeah.
we don't need any more meetings we've already had.
No,
That's
But-
there as a reminder.
But this is
Yeah.
just gonna get, hopefully, everybody on the same page, work out the differences and move on.
yeah.
Yes.
And you're,
It's time.
you're looking after this, Mary?
Hopefully, we're all gonna look after it.
Well,
I don't have a final decision.
no, you don't, no, what I
Let's
mean
count-
is you're doing some negotiating and.
I'm trying.
Yeah, okay,
But it's hard to, and I won't get into specifics of what happened at the last county council meeting. If you wanna go on and check out the minutes, you're more than welcome to.
It's,
There was things discussed and discovered at that meeting that nobody at this table knew about. But anyway, the issue is the document that's on the table. Okay, and that's what we're gonna speak to?
yep,
Stakeholder
okay.
meetings, I think are a great idea. The stakeholder meetings, is that
Yeah,
what we're talking
ba-
about?
Yeah.
basically stakeholder meeting. Just,
Yeah.
Again,
With council.
yeah, with
Yeah.
everybody
Okay,
listening.
everybody, I see, okay,
so the
Full
resolution,
active participation
okay.
between everybody.
so the resolution here says, let's do all this before we further notifying the county of the desires of the community, but we just passed the resolution that's feeding them a whole bunch of more stuff, concerns and desires of the community.
Asking questions and looking for answers.
Right.
It's
Without
not
having this,
notifying them.
without having done this.
It's not yeah, but we need these answers to these questions to talk to the stakeholders about the issue.
Maybe you don't.
You know, Councillor McKay, I think what's gonna happen is they're gonna wait until they get their lawyer's opinion on the zoning.
No.
And,
What-
you know,
that's
so,
fine, but
once
we
they get
can ask
that.
the questions.
Now, if
and
their lawyer, if their
Wait or
lawyer comes
not, we
back
can-
and said, HCM is in the right and you're in the wrong, we have a good lever. So, it just depends on what happens
But
with
I
their
think
lawyers.
asking the questions and trying to get some answers
Sure.
so we're informed before we go to, so we have something to present to the people that are at the stakeholders meetings, saying, here's some answers to your questions. If they're asking us these
Exactly,
questions,
sure.
would be nice
Yeah.
to say, we asked, we couldn't get the answers, or here is the answer
Yeah.
that we got.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
From
I'd-
ratepayers in the community. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we're here for.
That's exactly, so, yes.
And if I could, just for clarification, if you read the sample questions that are there,
Yeah.
this is not about snowmobiling. It's about how do we use this trail into the future? Do ratepayers do they see the benefit in council creating a corporation to start businesses, to keep people employed and to offset the increasing taxes from the tax base? It's so much bigger than the little issue that's been blown out of proportion in this community. And last month, they were talking about cycling and joining Sudbury to Ottawa. How does this council in this community want to participate in the joining of that trail that's going to do those things? That's
How
what
can
we
we
want
make
to
it
talk
work
to.
for
Yeah,
us?
I think what was getting misconstrued just at this moment is that this request has got very little to do with the snowmobiles
Exactly.
and more to do with the trail itself. Whether we want to participate in a full year-round usable trail, whether it's motorized or whether it's people walking, people on horses.
Let's
People
find
on
out what
bicycles.
people in the community.
Well, actually, looking on old history, maybe, but we actually turned down some, what was it, the commuting cyclists.
Nobody commutes by cycle in Hitler.
No, but maybe that's the name, but it was a
No,
cycling
no,
thing.
You're absolutely right, and that's why we wouldn't have been successful in it. If we were successful in that, we would have had to significantly lie on the application.
Well, maybe, but there's people I know at a deep that they don't commute, but they do a lot of biking across, in trails.
Anyway, the piece of
Anyway.
paper in front of you is
Yeah,
Yeah.
to try and move forward with
Yes.
The ultimate use of the trail, I believe that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, okay, there's a lot of options here.
So all in favor?
Yep,
Yes.
Yes.
okay.
Opposed?
In favor,
You're in favor?
yes.
Okay, carried. New business, design. Resolution number 1302-18-008. Moved by Councillor Foote, seconded by Councillor Villanueva. Subject, harassment complaint investigation report. Allegations have been made by the clerk against some members of, have been made by the clerk against some members of council and some members of the public. Council authorized clerk to commence an investigation. Council was not made aware of the number and type of the allegations. Council was not made aware of the number or names of all the people being accused. And whereas council was not given any type of cost estimate for this investigation, and whereas the municipality's legal firm, Cunningham and Swan, did contract out of the investigation to John Curtis. And whereas the presentation of the report to the municipality's legal firm is imminent. And whereas the municipality's legal firm has completed a previous code of conduct investigation concerning staff and council members. And whereas investigation could potentially influence someone reading the John Curtis report. And whereas council has previous legal advice about different report in 17/02/12/501. Item 2, that the report should be made available to the public. And whereas the ratepayers to the corporation of the United Township of Head Clare Mariah have paid for this report. Therefore be it resolved, in the interest of complete transparency, United Townships of Head Clare Mariah instruct its legal firm, Cunningham Swan, by way of this resolution, that the original report from John Curtis be presented to the public in an open meeting of council, and said report is not to be altered, changed, discussed, modified, or presented to any person prior to its disclosure at a public meeting. And further, that its legal firm, Cunningham Swan, make electronic copies for the clerk, each member of council, and each of those who have had accusations made against them. And further, that municipalities' legal counsel represent and report at the public meeting. And therefore, a copy of public access is made available on the municipal website. Question?
If I could speak to this, Mayor Reid, since I created this monster. Really, I started out with the idea, I had some people in the townships asking, will this be made public, what's going on? So I thought I'd write this and see what we could do. And Melinda rightfully, she said no, she's recommended strongly we don't pursue this. But I noticed down in the original discussion here, options discussion, as in the case of the employee code of conduct situation, individuals who have been named in the harassment complaints could sign a waiver authorizing council to release personal information about them. And without that, the municipality has a legal obligation to without it, the municipality has a legal obligation to protect personal information. Well, that being said, that wasn't what Ms. Risk was saying. And unfortunately, I copied that I sent this to all council, mayor, and to Melinda. but I also made the mistake, I guess, of copying Cunningham Swan. And because of that, I'm just looking, I'll just read what I sent. You probably all got this anyway in the email. To Melinda and parties concerned, this was a little note attached to the original resolution. To Melinda and all parties concerned, please add the resolution attached concerning the pending Curtis report to the council agenda for discussion during the meeting of today. Please indicate receipt of this message, and if there are any questions, I have many questions. If you have any questions, I will be pleased to provide an answer. And lo and behold, they took it upon themselves, maybe rightly so. I wonder if they didn't smell problems down the road, because Ms. Risk sent an email to all of us, and I'll just read just a bit of it because I think it pretty well negates possibility of this resolution. I should share two other cautions, okay, Melinda? I'll just start there. I should share two other cautions. First, as was the case with the report generated at the end of December, as a result of the complaints made against staff, the report arising from the workplace harassment investigation, aka Curtis report, will contain personal information about identifiable individuals. The report must therefore be received in closed session. Secondly, the report cannot be accessed through an Freedom of Information request, as it is a record related to labor relations or employment matters, and is thus excluded from the access provisions of the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection Privacy Act. I will make this latter point simply for the sake of inclusivity in the event that the municipality receives a Freedom of Information request in the future. And it says, on that basis of my recommendation, I'm sorry, I'll start again. On the above basis, my recommendation is that we, legal counsel to the municipality, not be instructed to present the report to public in an open meeting of council. And that's what we're talking about, Melinda, in your report. I also recommend making a copy available for public access on the municipality's I also recommend against making a copy available for public access on the municipality's website. And then for the gallery's information, in terms of the next steps, the investigator has provided me with this report. I guess that's Mr. Curtis. The municipality's policy now requires me to review that report and prepare a detailed account of the findings and any recommendations to council for resolution and decision. I plan on doing that by the end of next week. So just to summarize all this business just briefly, I put some things down on paper here. Where is it? Sorry, I have to go to another sheet there. I said, for transparency for the ratepayer, I created a resolution for council to consider the request of possibly releasing information regarding the harassment investigation currently in progress under Solicitor's Office. As a matter of formality, I copied the clerk, council, and the Solicitor's Office. I did not intend to invite a response from the solicitor at that point. And I said, please see the message accompanying the resolution that was originally emailed, which I read to you, just that little covering piece. I understood at that point the solicitor was not to respond to anyone without the clerk's or all of council's approval. Without such permission, the solicitor had been previously notified by the clerk after Councillor Villeneuve's resolution where he has to pay. Notified the clerk they may not be paid by Head Clerk Mariah. The response sent from the solicitor did indicate that release of any details regarding the harassment investigation should not be considered, even under the Freedom of Information Act. Although this response was not invited by me, it did contribute to the relevance of this particular case. Without this caution, council may have copied or opted to release some details of the investigation with written permission of parties involved. And that was just what I read at the options discussion. So I rest my case. That's, yes, I'm guilty, but really, why in the heck did they, I thought they would wait until we voted yes or no, and if we voted yes, then they would have said this. But they sort of jumped the gun. So why did they do that? Is that proactivity, or is that, it's money? I don't, I can't, I'm at a loss. Anyway, I stand with that. If anybody else has any input. Unfortunately, I told Melinda it won't happen again. I've been caught once with that, and a bit surprised, but there it be.
Do not contact legal counsel means do not contact legal counsel except through staff or the mayor. It's-
And the mayor has to get,
Yeah, even I have to get
counsel,
permission
yeah.
from council.
But Councillor Chartry,
So I have a
I didn't figure they'd respond, but I guess they're just, I guess they're just waiting for some more, who knows? Anyway, that's what happened, and that's the end of it.
I have some questions on the executive summary. The names and numbers of persons complained about is irrelevant. The costs are irrelevant. How can the cost be irrelevant?
Because we had no choice. Once a complaint is made by an employee, an employer has no option but to have it investigated. So it
So-
doesn't matter what it costs.
So if it
or
costs
the name.
$20,000,
We have no
that's
choice by
irrelevant?
law. That's what she's meaning, is that it doesn't matter because we had no choice.
Exactly.
There is no
But
choice.
but it is relevant.
Well, I don't know.
Call it relevant if you want, we still have to do it, so
I think
people should think
So
before
it
they
does
do
say
stuff
there's
and
no
cost us money.
obligation for council to approve the complaints? But,
no, there's no choice when an employee makes.
but we
an-
did approve.
No, we said, go ahead and have it investigated. That's our job.
That's our
That's
job
what
to
we
say
did
it.
in there.
So we approved.
Okay, we approved it, sure. It was
But-
done. And we have to keep going with that as the law dictates.
Just wanted to clarify.
We're not changing the laws here because
Well, to say that spending a chunk of taxpayers' money is irrelevant,
I don't know, we had how many,
It is irrelevant to the decision.
Yeah, that's what she.
A
Got
complaint was
nothing to
made.
do with spending the money, it's the fact of.
Of course, the money
every
is
penny we
relevant.
spend is
The
relevant.
decision is made,
It's out of our hands.
and once it's made, it's gone. It's continued.
But the point is, whether it costs $10, $10,000, or $100,000 does not matter. Because it was a complaint filed under the Occupational Health and Safety Act, it is required to be investigated, period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That point I get. What I can understand is why the lawyer responded. Anyway, we've been through that.
Anyways, the document on the table.
Put it
is
this
what
way,
What we're discussing.
yeah,
Anything else to add to this document?
oh boy. No.
All in favor?
No.
Oh,
No.
no, sorry.
All in favor of this, we got lost in the weeds here.
Yeah.
The investigators' report, no. My resolution, I'm not in favor of it because it's not illegal, but it's impossible unless we go against the lawyer's advice.
You can't do it.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm in a position where I have
I'm just
to,
trying to get clarification of what's going on.
Okay, yeah,
Okay,
so,
so,
call for the vote.
all in favor? Opposed?
Yes.
yes, I have to be. It's just
Defeated?
defeated by Cunningham Swan. Jesus. It was worth the fun. Live a little, what the hell, it's only for a lifetime.
02/18/009, moved by Councillor Vinod, seconded by Councillor Foote. Code of conduct complaints, new. Whereas 6 code of conduct complaints have been filed on February the 7th, 2018 against council members and staff, and whereas council has options to process these complaints, including the ability to amend its own policy and not have the complaints investigated. Therefore, it be resolved that the Council United Townships of Head Clara and Mariah does hereby direct staff to There's three options: hire Cunningham and Swan to conduct code of conduct complaints. Option 2, direct staff to research and hire an independent firm to conduct the investigation. 3, determine that the complaints are frivolous and unfounded, and for those reasons, and in those instances specify disregard the section of the complaint process requiring an investigation. It's on the table for questions.
Well, Ms. Rose is here, and I'm going to point out the one that she gave a deputation on.
Yeah, I
And-
don't think that we can
No, we're not supposed
name
to be
names and
discussing.
carry
Oh,
on.
okay, well,
Okay.
I think it's,
That's an issue
No.
for closed session?
is that an issue for closed session?
I believe so. You're talking names and personal.
Talking about a ratepayer.
So we're talking about a ratepayer here because the person who supplied these, his name is right on the bottom of this report.
All I'm thinking that the document is asking whether we send it off or we leave it
Well-
the way it is.
Well, so we've kind of identified an identifiable person.
Where?
I,
On the bottom.
okay, okay.
Right there.
No, didn't see that.
Well, there you be. So, without naming names, Mayor Reed, I was looking over the procedural bylaw and also the employee code of conduct, and I'm referring to the deputation. I'll go no further. I want,
Point of order, Mary, we're
Yes.
supposed to be just voting on 1, 2, or 3, not the content of or the.
but the
voting.
thing is, I'm sorry, Melinda, if you look under the employee code of conduct, item 79, if the complainant concerns the clerk, complaint concerns the clerk, it will immediately be submitted to the municipal solicitor. Now, I didn't write the music, I'm just playing the piano, I'm reading this.
And I've spoken to the municipal solicitor,
Okay,
as I've outlined in that report, and he suggested that
Mm-hmm.
in this instance, because of the content of those documents, that council can choose to ignore its own policy or to amend
Well,
its
that's-
own policy as outlined in number 3.
Okay, so I believe what this document is asking us is, do we send it through to our council,
Or
our legal counsel, or do we squash it?
Right.
That's, there's a middle item too, but that would just mean spending money on somebody else.
We were all here. It was directed to council, not to any particular individual.
It was
A
directed
particular
to-
individual. No, it wasn't.
It
Listen to
wasn't.
the audio.
I've
listened to the
It
audio
was to
twice.
council. If somebody identified themselves, that's their problem, not ours. It was addressed to council, to all of council.
I would, it was addressed to me.
No,
and
no,
I
No,
would
you
disagree.
stood up.
You
You
stood up
said
and
this
said,
I
I
did not
read
stand
that
up.
is being addressed to me.
You got a ratepayer asking
So,
what we're gonna do with their tax money. That's what we're here for.
so are we discussing this, Mayor Reed, or are we just voting?
We're discussing on the three items.
That's it?
It's
1,
not-
2, and
it's not a
None of the,
discussion.
none of the verbiage?
It's not a discussion on anything other than the fact, are we moving it through to the lawyer? Are we going to hire somebody different to look at it? Or are we going to determine not to do anything with it? That's the questions in the resolution.
And that's the recommendation of the solicitor.
I say number 3 because it was a taxpayer asking a question pointed at all of council. That's
So we're just,
the way it's
are we
done.
just voting like, all
1,
those in
2, or
favor of
3.
1, all those in favor of 2, all those in favor of 3, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
What should happen is some type of consensus. Bob ticks off the box, and then there's a vote taken on the box that's ticked off.
that sounds
Okay.
about right.
So
Okay.
I'm
so-
saying 3.
I'm saying
So
3.
so we'll start at question 1. Have it sent through to Cunningham and Swan.
In favor.
I'll vote in favor of that. I'd like to hire another person, but really, we're looking at the rights of a complainant here, and I find this difficult when I'm reading in the, you know, okay, the lawyer said you can ignore that, but to me, what about the person that laid the complaints? It doesn't seem fair to that person.
Frivolous and vexatious.
Well, I don't think they were, but that's interpretation. So
Okay,
we all have our
number
opinions.
2, direct staff to research it and hire somebody
No,
else.
well, okay.
Determine the complaints are frivolous, option number 3, and ignore.
Yes.
You're the tiebreaker, Mayor.
I know, and I'm giving it some thought, because this is,
It's hard, isn't it? It's a rock and a hard place. We gotta disappoint somebody. And, I'm just reading the music here.
Notwithstanding, I've already taken it to my counsel, legal counsel.
I re-listened to it until
Well,
well, I
yes.
listened to it a couple of times.
Yes.
he identified
And,
himself
I
as, you're
didn't see-
talking about me.
I didn't see the person exactly pointing the finger at
No,
an
it was
individual.
directed to council. Where's my
Un-
money
until-
going?
Also didn't,
Until it escalated.
And another interesting problem.
But it didn't escalate.
It didn't.
No, but it-
It never did.
and there was
a
no,
discussion
yeah.
between council and an individual, just like the discussion you had with the county representatives before that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna vote option 3.
Okay, well, you got
So-
it then.
So we'll put a check mark under, in number 3,
Mhm.
and now council needs to actually vote on
I've
the
done it differently.
resolution.
I've got 2 check marks under number 1.
I-
I've got a 0 at number 2,
Right,
and I've got 3 check marks at number 3.
so that was determining which option to choose. So
Okay.
now the option that you've chose is number 3, now council needs to
To
vote
vote.
on the
On
entire
number 3.
resolution.
All in favor?
Yes.
for number 3, yes.
For number 3, no.
No.
Okay, Councilor Chartrand,
Yes.
Councilor Foot,
No,
Councilor McKay,
Yes,
Mayor Reed,
Yes.
Councilor Villeneuve.
No.
for a small community, we certainly have a lot of fun. Okay, where are we now? Oh, this is the one.
Now, resolution 1302-18-010, plus the next one. Do you want to take both of those into closed session?
This one, the legal advice?
Legal advice invoice.
Invoicing, yes. Isn't that the one you wanted to speak to?
No.
No.
This is
No.
for open
I've
session.
spoken,
Oh, okay.
I have to recuse myself here.
1302-18.
You've made a
010.
record, Melinda? I'm leaving.
Yes, but we need to have that form signed that I gave to you at the last meeting. We'll have to have that signed.
Do you have
I'll
another copy?
provide you with one later.
Thanks, okay. Okay, we'll
Moved
go
by
down and see what it looks
Councilor
like.
McKay,
See
seconded
what it looks like from
by
the-
Councilor Chartraw, legal advice invoicing. Whereas the policy is to obtain legal advice through the clerk's office upon decision of council as a whole, or upon decision of council as a whole. And whereas procurement of goods and services may only occur under authority of municipal council as outlined in municipal procurement bylaw, legislation and municipal policy, or by specific resolution of council. And whereas council recently addressed the issue of procedure for consulting the municipal solicitor and incurring expenses on behalf of the municipality at the September 15th and November 14th, 2017, and January 23rd, 2018 council meeting. And whereas despite those discussions, Councilor Foot CC'd the municipal legal counsel in a resolution to be presented to council. And whereas no one member of council has the ability to contact for services or behalf of the municipality, and in order to avoid continuation of this occurrence and not set a dangerous precedent, council deems it appropriate to take steps immediately to prevent this behavior from continuing. Therefore, be it resolved that the Council of United Townships of Head, Clare, and Mariah does hereby direct staff to contact municipal legal counsel, confirm the invoice owing due to Councillor Foot's direct and specific contact, and further provide Councillor Foot with an invoice for the services he contracted for. And further, that failing to reimburse the municipality for those costs, that the outstanding amounts would be added to Councillor's tax roll as allowed for unpaid invoices owing to the municipality under the Municipal Act. It's on the table for discussion.
I don't see there's much to discuss. We were told 2 or 3 times that you don't do it, you pay the bill.
And I understand you didn't maybe realize that, but
And I send my lawyer a letter and he receives it or an email and he responds to it, I get billed for it.
I get billed for phoning them, so,
yeah.
but anyway, we won't go there.
So I would say that copying the solicitor is no way contracting for services. It seems ridiculous that the solicitor would even entertaining or answering email from other those that on the approved list. Councillor Foot was representing the individuals involved in the harassment complaints and was trying to ensure that the report would be made available to the accused as well as the accusers at the same time. It seems contradictory to want to discipline a councillor financially for not following the rules, but the council is quite willing to shrug off disregard of the mayor and council for not following procedural bylaws regarding a deputation to council at last meeting.
No, it's,
Got nothing to do with this.
the question's on the table.
It's a
whatever
question about following the rules.
legal advice invoicing is what's on the table, and,
You contact them, it takes their time, that's.
Anything
there's a
that
bill
takes
for
their
it.
time,
It's
they're
a
gonna
lawyer.
bill for. That's their.
now, I probably understand where Councillor Foot's coming from, just, but the minute you see a lawyer of any kind, you're putting them to work,
What else are you doing?
yeah, so.
What else would be the purpose of sending something to the lawyer?
And not only the 3 dates shown here, Councilor Foot and I were also council members in previous years where this issue came up, and it was dealt with at the same time. That no time council had permission to contact township lawyers without permission of the full council. So, questions on the table? All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Councilor Chartrand?
Yes.
Councilor McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
Yes.
Councilor Villeneuve?
No.
Carried.
Just one comment, I'm not paying for them when they come up for the closed meeting. I'll pay for the email, right?
Yeah, you don't.
It's got to end somewhere.
You
Okay.
don't pay them for when we request them to come up.
No. Okay, it won't happen again.
Okay, resolution 1302, 18-011. Moved by Councillor Foot, seconded by Councillor McKay. Closed session, personal information about an identified individual, clerk CAO, performance appraisal. Whereas the municipal act allows for closed meetings under section 239, therefore be resolved that this meeting go into in-camera session at 2015.
2016, 2015, yeah.
To discuss personal information about identifiable individuals, including municipal and local employees, under section 239, 2 and B, in respect to the results of the clerk's performance appraisal. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed?
Yeah. I'm not opposed, I have to go. I haven't got a real reason except
In favor.
So do we need a recorded vote on
I believe I heard everybody was in favor.
well, as you said, we sorted that out at the beginning. I can't really recuse
You have
myself.
no reason to.
Forced
that?
march,
So is
okay.
everybody in favor?
I guess we have to be.
Carried.
Okay.
So we will retire to close. Therefore, be it, oh. Therefore, be it resolved that the meeting comes out of closed session at 20:42 hours and the public portion of the meeting continue. Let it be public record that the only business of council advanced during this closed session was to provide direction to staff in respect of the merit policy and to receive confidential report from staff directly concerning the performance appraisal. And that was moved by Councillor McKay and seconded by Councillor Sharshaw. Resolution 1302-18012 to come out of closed session. All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
I have some reservations on this, but I'm really torn, Melinda, I'm really
We're
torn.
just
We're
co-
just
coming
voting
out
on
of-
Oh,
coming out
just
of
coming out of
closed
session,
closed
okay.
session?
All in favor?
Yes.
Coming out of closed
Yes.
session, yeah.
That's road.
Do we need a recorded vote on
I guess, I'm not sure
that,
what
please?
Councilor Villeneuve's doing.
I wasn't in closed session.
You're voting on the fact that council came out from, doesn't matter if you were in or not.
Okay, sure.
So that's a yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Resolution 1302-18013, moved by Councillor McKay, seconded by Councillor Foote. Whereas performance pay system and merit policy to determine staff wages. And whereas this system has an element to reward superlative performance, and whereas 2018, the clerk has demonstrated to, now that should be 2017, 2018?
It should be 17,
Oh, sorry, I wrote that.
sorry.
Demonstrated to council performance and far exceeds job expectations. And whereas performance is well above beyond clerk's job description, therefore be it resolved that a one-time merit payment which will be made to reward the clerk's superlative performance for 2017. And further, that the direction has been provided to the treasurer to that effect during the closed session of this meeting. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed?
I'm thinking,
Opposed.
I say I can't discuss what went on
Simply a
inside.
vote. It was a closed session meeting.
Yes, I know. I think I'll abstain. I'm torn. It will pass anyway, so it's not gonna make any
Recorded
difference.
vote, please.
Yeah. Just. Councilor Chartrand,
Yes.
Councilor McKay,
Yes.
Councilor Foot,
Abstain.
so that's no.
I guess so, yes, it has to be a
Mayor
no,
Reed.
with
Yeah.
reservations, but still.
Councilor Villar,
No. Makes no difference, it passes, so.
Questions and answers.
I did have a question, but the paper is probably so buried I'll even. Did we get a date for the closed session? I'm just going on memory here about discussing things at council to resolve some of our issues.
we didn't, and I think the issue is that there are too many variables that I'll send an email out and have people comment on a calendar, what works and what doesn't.
Yeah,
and-
because all the suggested dates, Melinda, you put down for the other meetings too, are fine by me. I checked my calendar, everything's open.
Okay.
The only thing I would like I prefer an afternoon rather than evening.
So the same thing, what I'll do is circulate, not a petition, but a schedule. And like I said, we don't need every council member at every meeting.
Oh,
We
no.
need 2 at each.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can fill in what works and what doesn't.
So, Councillor McKay, if you want to, you're the one working, if you want to choose what you want,
Well,
I can
yeah.
pick up any slack.
I'm fine, I can take I won't take every Friday off, but I can do the Saturday ones for sure, and then
Yeah, yeah.
fill in,
Well, how about you look after the weekends? Like, you choose the weekends,
Yeah.
and I can do it anytime,
yeah.
okay?
As long as we do it before the 1st of June, I'm open for any day.
I'm hoping for like those suggested dates.
Yeah, it was pretty much March and April.
Yeah, I'll need to change the 24th, but what I'll do is based on what's occurred here today, the different dates and things we've already set, I'll create a schedule and we'll just pass it around and have people fill in the blanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions, answers?
I got one. The end of Jennings Road, I realize we're not supposed to plow township roads, but it is an access to the river, which is easier getting ice shacks off and on, not that I fish, so it's not a conflict of interest because I haven't fished in years. But other people have expressed concern that it'd be nice for them to be able to get down there to put their fish shacks off and on. I realize we don't do it because of liability, but what if we, or could we look into the idea of signing it properly, saying this is not a maintained road, closed, use at your own risk, so that somebody doesn't drive down there, get stuck, and turn around and try to sue us? And it's accessible,
Possibility. I mean,
and it's accessible for
That's got
people
to be
to go
brought to the
fishing.
table and discussed, I don't.
Because
Yeah, shoot.
other than Lakeview, all the well, there's one other one.
The only scary part of that was I went down and looked before it was blocked. And I'm not sure who those pickup trucks were, but do they realize where they're parking?
That's why I'm saying
And
we
that's
gotta put
why I was
signs that we're
concerned.
not responsible or
If
liable.
they're using that as
Yes,
the access,
because if they're there at the
and
wrong
somebody goes
time,
through the ice and drowns, then
yes,
are they gonna come back and say, well, the township had it open, we thought it was
Yeah.
safe?
we're not plowing it.
Yeah, so I that would be my only concern.
Well,
But
I guess we have to
And it is,
get a,
sorry,
I guess we have to get a report and,
and it is the
discuss it.
only flat reasonable access.
And I agree with you.
I mean, all the places
but we have to
along
make
there
sure
on
that we're
banks,
doing it so that we're not
liable.
liable. Is the only, so that's what we need a report on, and
But
options.
a longtime person that grew up here, I noticed when I was down there, his pickup truck was parked on shore and they walked it,
Yeah, they always do.
right?
Yeah.
And you know who I'm talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah,
right? But
They go out every day or every other day.
those trucks were out where the currents meet, and it's usually bad ice, and I can't understand how
yeah.
they've been this lucky. But
It'll be
anyway,
me driving there, but if they want to, that's,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, so,
as long as we can
I'll
cover
be
the
honest, I've
township,
never
then
driven
it's
out on
not.
the Ottawa,
I
but I've
mean, it's
driven
pretty
out
much
on
gonna be a
lots of
new
lakes.
point for the rest of this year,
Yeah.
I don't think there's too much.
I mean, I don't agree that we should plow it and maintain it, it's closed, but if
Okay.
we can,
So we can't, you can't not maintain it.
If,
You
yeah.
either have to decide that you're plowing it and then it becomes an extension of your road, or you say nobody gets
Yeah,
down
once
there.
it's
Yeah.
plowed, it's gotta be
It's
continued.
gotta be plowed by township, it
Yeah.
can't be plowed by somebody else.
Yeah.
so what portion, where would the road end? At the boat launch or at the stairs or just the turnaround?
The stairs, somebody would drive down there.
So if somebody plows from there out, that's really not our problem, is it? If they take it upon themselves?
Yeah, that's what they do in Deep River, it's like, the municipality clears the parking lot at Lemire Beach so they can park, but they won't plow further than that, and it's not their road, so individuals who have huts out there take turns plowing that. So I don't know how that works in Deep River, but they plow the parking lot so people can park there, and there is a sign that says, you know, not maintain this, you know,
But they allow
beyond,
them to plow it.
and they, yeah, and they know they're plowing it, so I don't know if they're just turning a
Yeah.
blind eye, whatever, but they do
All we
plow
can do
it.
is look into it.
Yeah.
The reason it wasn't ever done before was the cost of plowing. They didn't even want it plowed past Hank's turn.
No.
When
Yeah.
I came on council.
Yeah. You know, and I think we just need to have all the options and understand the issue a bit more.
Yep.
Just 'cause
So
it's
we
new.
need to get a list of pros and cons and,
And well, I'll check with the insurance provider to ask about what our risks are and how to mitigate those.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
That's all I got.
anything else?
No.
Resolution 1302, 18014, moved by Councillor Foote, seconded by Councillor Villeneuve. Confirmatory bylaw. Be it resolved that bylaw 2018-04 being a bylaw to confirm proceedings of Council of the United Townships of Head Clare and Mariah at its meeting held on February 13th, 2018, be read a first time short and passed. All in favor?
Yep.
Carried. Resolution 130218,